What?
Hey, good day, everyone, and movie fans, moviegoers alike. Welcome back to another episode of KDM. KDM, if you don't already know, stands for Kit. Say hello to Kit. Demetrius,
Hi.
that's me.
say,
Hi,
say hello
everybody. Hi, Kit.
to
Good to
Dimitri.
see you. And the M stands for movies, of course, because we talk movies and we break them down for you and we give a good, thorough review, an
We
educated,
do.
thoughtful
We do.
review. And then we talk about other things, perhaps about the movie, a franchise, if need be.
Right.
And we thank you for clicking in. If you have clicked in before, thank you very much. If you're brand new, well, welcome. Please like and subscribe, or subscribe and like, not necessarily in any order that you'd like. And also, please comment at the end. Let us know what you thought about the movie that we've talked about. You know why? Because if you do something like that, it'll make Kit and myself smile. And yes,
Ooh.
today we will be talking Smile 2, the follow up to Smile from Parker Finn. So, Kit, this was a movie that I would have loved to have watched together.
You would not have had an arm.
Well, I was thinking about you while I was watching this movie. So, what did you think of Smile 2?
Um, I thought the first one was pretty inventive, and it had a nice, it was a scary movie, but not nothing to write home about, but I'm just saying it was serviceable. It did what it was supposed to do. And the ending wasn't necessarily all that. Oh, not to also to that we are a little squirrely in our
Yes, I
reviews.
forgot
So
that. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah,
It's still early morning. So yes, we talk spoilers.
yeah,
The reason being it's not to ruin your experience. By the time this all gets produced, edited, and then posted, it's usually after its opening weekend. So it'll come out, say, Monday, Tuesday, depending. And the movie's been out. So
yeah.
maybe you've watched it, maybe you haven't. We do this to start a discussion. If you haven't watched it, uh, if you haven't watched the movie, you can click pause, or by all means, continue on, watch our thorough review of this, and don't be upset with us because,
Yeah.
like, if we tell you what the end is, maybe you'll
Anyway,
like that better.
yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
anyway, the first one didn't necessarily end all that happy because usually in a horror film, and not usually, but most likely they defeat whatever it is, or they think they defeat whatever it is, and in the first Smile, it definitely did not happen that way. So appreciated that. Anyway, for this sequel, it has no business being what it is, to be honest with you. I
Say
mean,
that again.
I don't think it has any business being as good as it is as a sequel.
Mm.
I was really riveted and on the edge of my seat, and lots of good jump scares. And yeah, for a sequel, it's definitely tops the first one in a lot of respects. And this one, Naomi Scott, who people know as Princess Jasmine from the Aladdin movie, um, plays a pop star who has had some kind of, you know, tragic things happen to her in her life, which we get to see too, and that was ugh. And
Ugh.
a car crash where her husband or her boyfriend is killed.
Boyfriend,
Anyway,
who was a popular like
was an
actor.
actor. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So she's comes off of substance abuse, and she's had rehab and blah blah blah. And she's on the up and up, and she's got this brand new tour she's going to do. And unfortunately, from the car accident, she's got some pains, some back pain, and so she's searching for some painkillers, and she ends up going to her drug dealer, who we come to find out is also has been sort of infected, I guess. Basically, they explain it a lot better in this film. What happens is this some sort of horrible entity thing that infects you, and you have like 6 days of going crazy, and then you end up killing yourself. I mean, that's kind of the basic, but you have to kill yourself
And
in front of
passing it
somebody
on.
else. Yes,
Right.
and passing it on. Kind of like It Follows too. That was a lot like that film as well, which I thought was another little gem of a scary movie. Anyway, so in this sense, she's now, trying to get ready for this tour, and is going crazy basically, and just all of the, you know, just all of the stuff that happens to her. You're just like, wow, this poor person, and she nails it. I mean, Scott wasn't as good as she is in this, this would not have worked. You absolutely see the terror and the, you know, just all of the things that are happening to her just on her face, and she's so her just her reactions and everything were just so scary, and you were like really just put yourself in her position, and you could feel it, and she did such a beautiful job with it, I think. So, and literally this is it all falls on her shoulders for this. She's in almost every frame of the film, and it's really just it's taxing, but it's also just horrific. And of course the whole creepy smile thing, I mean, I think probably the best one was, and I didn't realize this, but the actor who plays her boyfriend
Boyfriend.
who gets killed is Jack Nicholson's son. And what's his name? Do you have
Yes.
it there?
Let's give him a name because that's basically what he's known as Jack Nicholson's son, which is all good and but his name is Ray Nicholson. Ray Nicholson. And
He has the best creepy smile, so I guess he's inherited that from his
like
dad.
father like son, man. He could have been, Mr. Brady. You never left. I mean, he looks like the last photo from The Shining, that black and white photo. The young Jack, like he nails it, literally.
So he's giving props to his dad, and as well he should. So yeah, he probably had the creepiest one. But there's also some good performances. Rosemary DeWitt, who I think is a great actress too, and she plays Naomi Campbell's Sky Riley is the
Sky
character name.
Riley. Hmm.
Plays her mom, and that was a really horrible scene too, with her mother smiling and then stabbing herself. Oh, I mean, yeah, just saying, this definitely was an incredibly worthy follow up. I even think better than the first, and I was surprised on how good it was, given that it was a sequel. And the ending. So
Yeah,
yeah.
let's just say the ending. If Taylor Swift, if this were real and Taylor Swift had ever been cursed with this entity, the planet as a whole is messed up. We're
It's yeah,
done.
we're done. We're done.
We're done
We're
for.
done.
That's all there is to
That's
it.
it. Yeah.
I
We're all
really
going to
do
see
love what
creepy
that had to
smiles.
say. Oh yeah.
Here's the thing. So if like an entire population is infected with this thing, right? This entity who feeds on the fear. Then if he has everybody kill themselves, then what's it going to feed on?
Oh, that's its own doing. I can't think about. I gotta make sure not to smile.
All right. So yes, big
It's on
thumbs
you.
up for me. How about you?
Good. Listen, I'm very much in line with everything that you said. I thought that this movie, I thought it was deeper into the lore. It's definitely darker. It's far more disturbing.
Yes.
Far more disturbing. Uh, I really liked Smile. I really liked the
Oh, I
first
did
movie.
too. I did. Yeah.
I found it to be a fairly original concept. It was uber creepy. Great performances in that movie too. And as the movie went along, there were some really unexpected jump scares. And by unexpected, Parker Finn is obviously a student of old time classic horror. He loves, like you could tell that he has studied and watched the likes of John Carpenter, perhaps even in this movie, David Cronenberg, even like
Yes.
Stuart Gordon, uh, and the like. And he gets he gets how to frame a shot. He knows how to use close-ups to his advantage. and not just for a cheap scare. He knows
Right.
what to hide from the audience. And then again, he also uses the space of the silver screen, the vastness of it, to provide discomfort, not
Right.
just to set up an establishing
Yep.
shot, but he
Yeah,
really
so I felt
does,
like,
you
yeah, he
know,
does some great camera work in this one too. Just
amazing.
fabulous.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I think his writing is very decent because it's very thought out
Hmm.
from plot point A to B to C. It really is a good three act structure,
Yep.
so to speak, as far as his writing goes. And he's able to draw out great performances. I I think that Sky Riley, she was perfectly portrayed by Naomi Scott. I can't
Yep.
imagine how taxing the role must have been on her, and she
Right.
completely shreds her Disney princess
Oh yeah.
persona there. And she does her own singing. So here's the thing, while I was watching Sky Riley, I don't know about the screening that you went to. Was that a quote unquote fan screening? And they, prior to the movie, they showed Sky Riley music videos
Mhm.
and such. It was interesting. But watching the movie and seeing Sky perform, and especially seeing her perform in the stadium type setting, I kept on thinking of Trap, right? And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, a little
going,
bit.
how much better this was and more believable. Now, I get that the performer in Trap wasn't necessarily the main character, but Parker Finn, like, I believe that Sky Riley was a pop star.
Yeah.
I had such a hard time believing, and it's no offense to M. Night's daughter. I just had a hard time believing that she was as big as she was. But Sky Riley, I bought.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought it was great. Now, as far as the other great things about Smile and Smile 2, they just grab you from the get-go. The
Yes.
beginning to this movie I thought was brilliant. And it grabs you. As you, and boy, howdy, this movie did not shy away from blood or gore or
Nope.
any of that stuff or the creepiness. Now, so I even put forward to, like, don't make, if you're, because it's October, right? And in October, people who aren't horror fans will tend to watch horror movies because it's
Yes.
October. It's the
Sure.
season to do it. I get it. Don't make Smile 2 your introduction to horror because you'll never watch it again. You will have nightmares. Like, you want to ease into it a little. In this movie, I found to be very intense, and I found it to be disturbing. Whereas there were scenes that were kind of hard to watch.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, and if you're of the easily nauseated camp, this movie definitely not for you. You just might not smile for a while and hate whoever took you to this as your introduction to horror, albeit a very good movie. Yes, I can't say enough good things about this movie, from its construction, from the collaboration, from the creative process. It looked fantastic up on the screen. I may even watch it again now, knowing the beats and
Right.
trying to figure things
Or do
out.
or do I might wait a little time and do a double feature.
Yeah, I definitely want to rewatch the original again because I believe, well, the beginning of this movie, I believe, ties directly into the last one. And again,
Yeah.
very clever that it says 6 days later.
Right.
So I just, there were so many key scenes too. Three that we can talk about. There was the fan meet and greet scene,
Yeah. Ooh, that was
which
rough.
was disturbing, it kind of was almost like a bait and switch in a sense, because there was that little girl, number one, but then
Yep.
I think prior to the little girl, like, there was that fanatic fan,
Yes.
It was like a little, and that was a little bit scarier because it was in the present. It was right there in the moment.
Yeah.
But again, a very effective scene. The other scene, well, the car crash, the fight. The
Yeah.
in a flashback, Sky is with her boyfriend. They're driving, both of them are on substance and intoxicated, and they have this argument in the car. And the way that Parker films it is the camera seems to be right in between them, and it switch pans over, switch
Yeah.
pans, and then you see the road very quickly, and
Yeah.
it's
I'm telling you, car
disturbing.
crashes are one of the most effective ways to get me to jump out of my damn seat. When people get hit by a car all of a sudden, like, at the very beginning of this one too, like, oh shit. I always say the same thing. It's like, oh shit. Sorry. Every
It's
single
okay.
time. Or like, I hate it when people are, they're driving and they're talking, and then all of a sudden a car comes from the side and crashes. And, oh, they get me every time. Every
And
time.
this
Ooh.
one was done so creatively, right? Would you agree?
Yes.
So creatively, and that it just amped up the tension as their arguing continued to go on. Then there was a scene. Then there was the scene at the charity event.
Yes.
Oof. Again,
Oof.
very, very, very creepy. Very and
But so uncomfortable.
yes, yes.
Uncomfortable because she's flipping out and everybody's watching her flip out, and you're just like, oh gosh, that makes you just squirmy.
Yeah. Oh my God. Another creepy scene, for me anyways, was the scene where she was in her New York apartment there.
With all of her
All of her
dancers.
dancers, her backup
Oh, I
dancers.
was gonna say that
I'm
was the
telling
one that was
you, getting
so
chills.
creepy.
Like I was getting chills thinking about this, but that's like a good thing because that means
Yeah.
Parker Finn and company succeeded, and
Yeah.
they did it in a way that it just didn't. It didn't replicate the first movie. It
No.
goes up and beyond, and it tests an audience perception of like what's real, like what is Sky experiencing.
Right.
And I gotta say, it's like it's not necessarily red herring-ish, but it's what is happening here. And it really is
Yeah.
punctuated with an exclamation point for the end,
Oh
just
yeah.
as you said.
Yeah.
So I
Big
too,
big 5 stars for me.
yeah, I think so. I have to say this, uh, up until watching Smile 2 this year, and this year, I believe we've had some really good horror movies this year,
Yeah.
some fun, good horror movies. Long Legs,
I
which
didn't
I
see that yet.
praised. It's good. It too, in its way, is very disturbing.
Right.
I remember after reviewing Long Legs saying, right now this is like my favorite like horror movie. It's very disturbing. No, I right now I'm giving it to Smile 2.
Yeah.
Sorry, Long Legs. Still like it a lot, but Smile 2 to me is
Yeah.
I think it's thus far still waiting on Nosferatu
Mm.
to see how that comes out. But thus far, Smile 2 gets my attention. It really is crafted very well. Naomi Naomi
Scar.
Scott. Let me ask you something.
Mm.
Her performance, we both raved about it, right? And you're right. This movie hinges on Sky Riley. And what a
Yep.
great name, by the way. Sky
Right.
Riley is a
Yeah.
great name for
Good
a
one.
pop star.
Good one.
What are your thoughts on, like, does the Academy do what the Academy does always and just just look
Yeah.
over
It's
horror
funny. I
movie
had a I had
performances?
a similar conversation about this with another one of our colleagues, um, in my other podcast. But you know what? She could and she should. I mean, it would be wonderful. But if they didn't even nominate Tony Collette for Heredity, I just I don't see them going for that in this. It's just, I just don't think they look at that, that those kinds of performances. But She's certainly, if so, because I mean we've got a long way to go. We have a long way to
I
go
know,
before we.
I know we do, and but it just bums me out
Yeah.
because this year I think that there have been some women performers,
Hmm.
artists who've really knocked it out of the park. One of them being Lupita Nyong'o,
Hmm.
in A Quiet Place Day One. I thought she was
I
wonderful
would
too.
see now. I think, in my opinion, Naomi is great, but Lupita really, really should get a nomination for that. I think, but
See, I don't argue with you, but I really think that Naomi did such a wonderful job in this movie, and she she drags the audience along.
oh
I
yeah,
mean, you're going through these mental depths of hell along with her, and you're equally as uncomfortable, let's just say. It just bothers me that the Academy would look over performances such as the ones we discussed
yeah,
because they are worthy. And you don't have to always be dramatic or like just broaden it a little because there are so many genres out there and there are really good performances. And it's great if there's a horror award show and they get
yeah,
nominated. One one's fine. But I don't want it to be genre or acting defining because I think that it just really shows that the person can go from playing Princess Jasmine to Sky Riley.
yeah,
She's very good and worthy. You're right. We have some months ahead of us to see who else is there, but I don't know. I think that she should be, both of them should be in the conversation. Let's
yeah. It
just
would be
say that.
great.
Let's
It
be
would be
fair
great.
to both. So you give this movie. You already let your cat out of the bag,
Hmm.
so to speak. You were smiling with a high five. I'm going to join you on that. Um, I do agree with you. I think that the movie is worthy in many ways, and it is October. So for those who are
Yep,
horror-leaning fans, you will not be
it's a,
disappointed
it's a good
and
one.
smile.
It's a good one.
So.
Yep.
There you go. So we will have more. That about wraps up Smile 2.
Yep.
So go and brush your teeth and go put on your best smile for the day, everybody. Well,
We've got one more to talk about.
yeah, we have one other movie to talk about. So we're not going to break.
No.
Maybe we'll break, but we'll go right into it. We've been busy. We've been going to the movies. And this one is completely different. This one
Oh
is
yeah,
completely a
and
completely
fun.
different movie. For me, equally as great. And listen, if you're looking for something to do on a Saturday night, well, this would be the movie for you, and it won't scare you. You
No.
might even laugh. And of course, I am now talking about Saturday Night. This is the movie about the pilot, the pilot, the about to air live pilot, then what happens the 90 minutes prior to Saturday Night going live, way back when, in well, 1975,
1975, October 11th, 1975.
50 years. SNL,
It's just
Saturday Night.
it's just mind-boggling that it's been on that long. But
Oh,
I'll launch into it here. I adored
yes.
this. This was a lot of fun. Now I know Jason Reitman. He's one of my favorite. I like him as a director. I always have. I think he's a great writer. He's a great he's a great director for actors. He brings out great performances. And he tackles this with aplomb. He just so I think they take a lot of creative liberties to the story of the 90 minutes before the actual first not
Um,
ready for
I,
primetime players.
I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna not to interrupt you and not to like speak over you. Not as many as you think. I
No, I
actually
know,
did
but like the
watch
fight
this, but it's
between Belushi and Chevy Chase didn't happen. That was actually between Belushi and Bill Murray,
that
and
was later
stuff like
on.
that.
But Chevy Chase did have his issues with
Well,
Belushi.
he did, of course, but they didn't have a
And
knockdown drag out like that. I'm just saying it's
no,
okay. It doesn't
right,
matter. It doesn't
right.
matter if you took creative liberties or not. It was effective as a film, and you have to do that sometimes when you're when you're telling a true story, you do. So anyway,
It's
I think the Gabriel LaBelle, who plays Lorne Michaels, did a fabulous job. He's the kid from the Spielberg movie, of his autobiographical movie. And but standouts: Rachel Sennett as Rosie Schuster, who was one of the writers of the show at the beginning, and was also married to Lorne Michaels. Corey Michael Smith, who we might know from Gotham as the Riddler, playing an amazing Chevy Chase. Ella Hunt as Gilda Radner. Emily Farn as Lorraine Newman. Lamar Morris from Good New Girl as Garrett Morris, and then Matt Wood as John Belushi was great. But I think I have to give the biggest props to Dylan O'Brien as Dan Aykroyd, because here's Dylan O'Brien, heartthrob, maze runner. I would never think of him as being in a film like this at all, and he just nails Dan Aykroyd. I mean, I guess Dan Aykroyd was a very charismatic, kind of playboyish type guy, and you would think it would be Chevy Chase, who was also that way too, but I think Dan was a little bit even more so. But yeah, they just, all the combinations of everything of this entire cast together. I loved it, and of course, I know I've been a big Saturday Night Live fan for a long, long time, and I remember not this pilot. I don't remember that, but I do remember watching it not too many years after it first aired. With Bill Murray and everybody, and I thought this show was amazing. I was like, what is this show? My God, how cool is this? And you're staying up late and all this kind of stuff. Um, Also, William Dafoe plays like one of the suits from NBC, and he was
it's the
fantastic.
year of Willem Dafoe.
Yeah. And who plays Dick Ebersol again? Cooper Hoffman plays Dick Ebersol, who was a big, he and Lauren were the two, spearheaders on this. And then I also have to call out Nicholas Braun Session, who not only plays one part, but two. He plays both brilliantly. Andy Kaufman, and then Jim Henson. I think I liked this Jim Henson the best. Oh my God, he just totally nailed Jim Henson. And then my last one was Matthew Reese as George Carlin. Very small little part, but he just nails that too. And I love Matthew Reese as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had the best time with this. Like I said, just the tension that keeps building. Are they going to air it? Are they not going to air it? Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? And all of that, and knowing in your head that how well it actually does end up working. It's like the cherry on the top. The only
Right.
criticism I have, and I do have a small criticism, is it felt a little repetitive there towards the end. It was like, same kinds of things kept happening, walking through the hallways, doing this, doing that. And I felt it could have been tightened a little bit, but again, it didn't take away from the overall greatness of it. And the individual moments where everyone, the iconic moments, the bee costume, the Andy Kaufman thing, the Mighty Mouse. I do remember watching that. I
Well,
remember watching that for the first time and going, oh my God, that's the most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, him and Nicholas Brown just nails it. But it's just so, I mean, just this, all these little moments, and I like I said, I think Dylan O'Brien for me was the standout, but I also really loved what's her name, Rachel Sennett, who was another kind of actress that keeps popping up in all these kind of quirky comedies like Bottoms and Shiva Baby. I don't think I've ever seen that, but
mhm.
um, she's great, and I'm just saying, I really enjoyed this. So
Yeah, I mean, again, I really enjoy this as well. I enjoyed it for a ton of reasons too. Um, a lot of it is, and I think it's fair to say that this is a very generational movie. I
yes,
think that, considering when Saturday Night was airing, watching everything play out in almost real time,
yeah,
you would be like, oh my God, this couldn't have happened. But as I said, I did research it, and a lot of it did. Yes, they changed some situations to protect the innocent, so to speak.
Yeah.
But for the most part, that Bedlam and chaos was existing, and Lorne Michaels was trying to prove himself
Yep.
as a comedy producer, and the folks at NBC really wanted him to fail, including Johnny Carson. Like, that's all very
Oh,
true.
yeah,
A
but he
lot of the
didn't
stuff,
call him the night before. I heard that
uh,
that wasn't necessarily true.
yeah, but Johnny Carson didn't want. Johnny Carson was the king of comedy.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing too is we are talking a different time where ratings of such
Right.
were important. And Johnny
Yeah.
Carson, the Tonight Show pulled in a ton of ratings. Also, Milton Berle was in there, and Milton Berle did have a sordid history with SNL. The event that's depicted in the
Oh,
movie
I forgot
um,
about him. Big Bear.
actually did happen, but it did not happen with Chevy Chase, but it did
Right.
happen. Milton Berle was on the show for a few times, and Lorne Michaels, despite he ended up hating the man, he banned him ever. He banned him forever to ever come on the set, which to me was quite fascinating. I think what this movie for me, look, it's comedy from chaos. It's not like this movie is littered with one-liners and it's
Right. Right.
set up punchline. This is comedy through chaos, and it is kinetic. It goes.
Right.
If you're paying attention, the Easter eggs that they lay throughout the entire movie. You mentioned the bee costume. Listen, I loved watching the likes of Billy Crystal. I did not know that
Oh,
Billy
yeah. I
Crystal
forgot about that
was
guy. Nailed that too.
yeah, and I did not know that Billy Crystal was meant to be in the pilot and part of the cast, and he never did. Later on, we know that he does, right? And then he becomes really popular. But I also love that they showed Franken and Davis.
Oh,
Senator Al Franken, that comedy duo were fantastic back then. And to watch and the guys that played them, Taylor Gray and McCabe Gregg, it was amazing, and
yeah.
they were working out the famous Julia Childs set, which Dan Aykroyd portrays Julia Childs and cuts off her thumb and whatever. We saw all these. This movie, we saw the seeds of skits that became
Right. And
legendary.
what I'm saying is it may not have all happened that night.
Right.
To see all of that fun stuff
It,
and knowing what ends up becoming happening is that's what made it so fun. And by the way,
I
a little
thought so
little
too.
side note on Al Franken and Tom Davis. Tom, right? Tom Davis.
Yeah.
My oldest sister was friends with them in New York.
No.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think is well, Jason Reitman was perfect for this because at the time,
Yes.
Ivan Reitman's also coming up. Now, Bill Murray wasn't in the first season. He shows up a little bit later on, but Ivan Reitman, and then later on, John Landis, they ended up farming from SNL. Like SNL made household names out of these not ready for primetime players, right?
Yep.
So John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd. Of course, you get the Blues Brothers. Of course, we got Meatballs. And Ivan Reitman pulled from
And
this
then
cast,
Chevy
made
Chase
a lot of
too.
this.
Yeah.
Then Chevy Chase later on, he was like one of the first. I mean, if it wasn't for SNL, Chevy Chase wouldn't have been in Foul Play, and then going into Caddyshack, and he had a relatively successful career in cinema, and it's what he wanted to do.
Yeah, and so
And
they show his arrogance pretty well. I mean, and that's
yes,
pretty well documented at this point that he thought he was a lot better than everybody else. So
yes,
that yeah.
yeah, and the woman who played Gilda Radner,
Yeah, she was quite good.
I thought she was wonderful. What is her name? She was
Ella
great.
Hunt.
Oh, Ella Hunt. Yeah, she was fantastic. I just loved how everything came together. And
Actually, I really also love the sorry to interrupt the woman who
no,
played
no, no,
Jane Curtin too, Kim
she was great
Matula.
too.
Never heard her,
Hmm.
but she has a great little little monologue there, in there,
100%.
and she was so Jane Curtin. I mean, all of it. They just nailed it. But they
They
also brought their own. I mean, they weren't necessarily, carbon copies of the people they were playing, but
right.
they brought their own. Yeah, that's why. I mean, I just thought Dylan O'Brien. Wow,
See,
really
and
was impressed
I
by him.
actually thought Gabriel LaBelle as Lorne Michaels was fantastic, trying to keep it all together in a cool head. Um, it made me, I guess, provide a little more respect towards Lorne Michaels, what he had to go up against. And then, Saturday Night Live, well, 50 years later, so it's still on the air. It's interesting because about a week after watching the movie, Turner Classic Movies actually showed something that used to be on HBO a ton, but there was the movie Gilda Live, where she did the
Right,
one woman show on Broadway.
right.
Started watching that. And again, this would have never happened without SNL. Why? Because a lot of the SNL stage crew and stuff like that worked on this, and it was Lorne Michaels who directed it,
Oh,
which I did not know.
right.
But all of these, for me, in comedy, SNL was very important because it also showcased people aside from George Carlin, who was pretty established. I mean, the other big one to come out of SNL those years was Steve Martin.
Yeah.
Steve Martin, who as a kid I
Oh,
adored.
yeah.
Like his comedy albums were great. And whenever he was
Well,
on
here's the thing. He was already, stand-up star, and I mean, there's a great documentary on him on Apple TV Plus,
Mhm.
from his telling his story. But, he probably was one of the first comedians to become like a pop star. And he was
Mhm.
like a Taylor Swift. He was a pop. I mean, they flocked to his concerts. And then putting him on SNL, it just enhanced everything that he was already doing. So yeah, pretty spectacular,
Right.
the symbiotic
Yeah,
thing that
and
happened there. Yeah.
it he was amazing every time he was on the show, and it was with that cast. And for me as a kid, I knew this show was going to be on. Like I had to beg my parents so I could stay up and watch it. Now, at the time, SNL was an hour and a half long.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's for a show that starts at 11:30 and it's going to get through at 1. Yeah, as a young kid, 75, so I was like 9, 10, 11 years old, and that did I stay up for the whole thing? No, but you also have to put yourself back in 75 where shows weren't clipped out. They couldn't be clipped out to be thrown onto the internet to show you the best skits because that's basically, to be honest with you, that's how I watch SNL right now
Yeah.
is like whatever they believe the funny skit to be or the weekend update to be. That's the unfortunate thing about watching TV. But for SNL, you had to watch the whole thing. And yes,
Mhm.
you remembered the best sketches, like the B sketch, like the Chicago Greek Diner, like Julia Childs, like Roseanne
Yeah,
Um,
but that was always Weekend Update was always the highlight. So,
oh yeah.
generally they'd have like really good ones up front. Then it was Weekend Update, and of course, you had all the great characters on that. And then it would like, they would throw in the whatever else. Sometimes,
The
and then
B
the musical
material.
performance, and then the
Right,
musical
the musical
performance. Yeah,
performances. Yeah.
yeah.
So, yes, I too did love this movie. I'm gonna, cat's out of the bag. I give it 5. I'm giving it the 5 stars. And I'm not gonna lie about it. I'll be right up front and fully transparent. Yeah, there was a nostalgic element to this movie that really grabbed me emotionally because it brought me back.
Yeah.
It was filmed in such a way like a Robert Altman was filming it.
Yes.
You were there.
Yeah.
I
Right.
felt
It
like
was
I'm,
kind of a cross between Robert Altman and Sorkin,
yes.
walking and talking and, handing papers and,
Yeah, and
that.
I felt like I was a bee
Yeah.
following Lauren Michaels through
Yeah.
an elevator outside and this and that. And I really I
Yeah.
love the movie.
I mean, I would give it slightly less only because it did get a little repetitive to me. I kind of felt I wanted it to finally, sort of, because it kept saying, "Oh, it's only 10 o'clock." I'm going, really? it seems like it might be a little later than that. Let's get to the crux of it, you know. So I give it 4.5, but like I said,
Sure.
my little annoyance at it not being tightened a little bit is minor to what I felt watching it when I walked out of the theater. So
I also believe it's a fantastic example as to why perhaps the Academy should consider an award for ensemble acting.
yeah,
Because this, I mean, to throw these people together and to do what they accomplish, to
I
do
know.
what they do in capturing this moment, and they too were thrust into chaos. And
Hmm.
we know how movies are made, but they have to keep that energy level up
Yeah,
to
yeah,
make it believable.
yeah,
It was a fantastic ensemble cast. Jason Reitman, again, kudos to him. He just
yeah,
seems to get better. And he would, his daddy's looking down on him, going,
yeah. He's a good one. So
yeah,
looking forward to all his stuff. So yeah, definitely check it out in the theater if you can, because it needs a little help box office wise. So if you want to see some fun stuff, definitely go check out Saturday night for sure.
yeah,
And if you want scary,
absolutely.
then go see Smile 2. Or
Yes.
go see Smile 2 and go, ah, well, I gotta go watch something funny and then go watch that.
Yes. 100%.
Right?
100%. It's a great
Okay.
suggestion, as always, Kit. As always. Listen to her.
Yes. So Dimitri, thank you
No,
again.
thank
What a
you.
yeah. We always have so much fun doing this. And again, like we said, subscribe and like and comment. We love comments. So go ahead and leave your
We
comments for
do.
us. Yes.
Yeah.
Let us
And
know what you think.
keep going to the movies. I know the days and weeks, there's plenty of movies between now and December. We will break them down for you. And hopefully, there's going to be a good handful that we get to go see these things
Yep.
together. Right.
Yes.
So that'll
Next
be
year for
fun.
sure. This year maybe not as much, but next year we're gonna take it up a notch here for us. So
Good.
look for that.
Oh, I'm excited about that news.
Okay.
So that's great. All
All
right.
right. Take care,
Thanks all.
everybody.
Bye.